will be, what does atheism offer? Because atheists, we find them on online. The only thing they do is criticism. So I was wondering to see what their worldview is and what they offer to certain questions and how they see life in general. That's one. We're going to be speaking only on this topic today, inshallah ta'ala. And if there's a requirement for having second session, third session, we can do that. There is nothing wrong to have many sessions. And before we engage in the topic, I would like you to introduce yourself, since you're on my channel, so people should know you, who you are.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name is Harris Sultan. I am an ex-Muslim, and obviously now I am an atheist. I didn't leave Islam to go to another religion. Yeah, well, I have a YouTube page. You can look up my videos, what I have to say. We have a page called Exmuslim Atheist on Facebook, and you can also obviously check me out on Twitter.
Yeah, from your page, obviously I'm going to ask you these questions. You have said few things, that Islam is a patriotic religion, it's useless, it's merciless, Islam's just meant to beat their wives, kill those people who left Islam, and you said that you cannot find anything useful from Islam, and this something should vanish from the world, and that's what you want to see. Definitely I'm going to ask these questions, and I'm sure you have answers for them, why you said that. Before that, I want to know, what does atheism offer? So please start.
Okay, well, atheism, you said in your introduction that all we do is criticize. We don't mainly just criticize. We give an alternative idea, which is opposite, which ends up being an opposite idea to Islam.
Sorry, please don't feel that I'm interrupting you, okay? Please don't feel that. If you feel uncomfortable, you can tell me. But this is what I see so far. The only thing I've seen, most atheists, for example, I mean, there are prophets of atheism, for example, Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris, they're different. They do offer certain things. But again, they're criticized by theistic and atheistic scientists and philosophers. But from your channel, I'm speaking personally, and some other channels that I've seen, the only thing I've seen from your channel is the meaning of life. And of course, it's very questionable, and I'm going to ask a question about that as well. But you can give us, for example, the meaning of life, meaning for the world, and I mean, just give me a few things that the atheism offer, and so I can see it and the viewers can see it as well. And by the way, if somebody want to ask questions, there's a chat room. You can ask your question, but I don't know why I can't see people who are chatting. You know, I'm very new to this thing. I'm an old school guy. So
yeah, I can't see the chat either. Oh, there's a button on the left when you take your mouse there. There's a whole bar there, so you can click on chat and it'll show you all the chats. I can see the chat, but I can't see anyone has started anything yet.
Me too. This is even last time I tried to check this, people were chatting, but I couldn't see it. But anyways, what I'm going to do is, I don't know, those people who are on Facebook with me, please let us know if you're typing something and we can't see it, what's the problem. At least we're aware what's going on, because I don't see anything right now. I'm sure people have come, they said wa alaikum salam to your salam and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'll start with my answer. So atheism, in a nutshell, what it has to offer, obviously you don't have to agree with that, but what we believe, it is closer to the truth. It gives us better morality. It takes us closer and more open to accepting science and evidence and rationality. That's basically a short answer in that. I'm sure we can expand on that, what the morality, where that comes from, or how religion can be openly against science. As I see, religions accept science when it suits them, but when it doesn't suit them, they deny it. Evolution being the clear example of that, and morality being the part, the divine morality that comes from religion, which religion claims is a static morality. It doesn't evolve. But one thing that we've learned throughout human history is morality evolves over time. You can go to any era of history, you would notice the morality or the moral norms of that society would be different from the society before that or society after that.
Are you talking about social norms or moral norms? There are difference between these two terms.
Well, morality goes in the social norms. I see social norms and moral norms being the same thing. We can obviously, I can see your point of view where that would be coming from, that Muslim societies in general, for instance, they have the social impact in their morality, which may not necessarily rely entirely on Islam or Islamic morality. So I totally agree.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. My point is, from atheism worldview, from naturalistic worldview, how you define somebody. For example, for me, a human being, an atheistic worldview is just a piece of matter, right?
Well, yeah. Well, again, so
Naturalistic
I'd say
worldview, right? So
we are a matter, but obviously but so is a rock. But so is a rock.
Mhm.
So we're not saying that rock. There's no difference between a rock and an amoeba, for instance.
Mhm.
So there are living beings. Living beings do come from matter, and saying that, well, we're just a piece of atoms conjoined together, I think that is simplifying our position. We obviously, morality comes further into it.
What you're saying in this regard, like how, from naturalistic worldview, I mean, this view is that a human being is a matter, just a piece of matter, just like rock, phone, apples, and all those things. So if it's so, then why we should have morality?
Well, because we're conscious beings, we have impact in the society that we live in. And again, by simply referring it to as a piece of matter, like a rock or a phone or a human, that is simplifying it. That is overly simplifying it. They're not conscious being. Consciousness is where we draw the line.
We are matter, but we are different from other matters. That's what you're saying.
Okay, well, you can call it a higher form of a matter.
Good, excellent. So if you say higher form of matter, I don't know if you're playing with the words of what, like, so that simply we are matter, but better than the other matters.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the one playing with the words here. I think you're trying. You're trying to put that.
Matter. This is what I'm saying. Like, what's the lower form matter then? What's the low? How you define higher form?
Okay, yeah, it's a physical being. We're all physical beings. So is a rock. So is a mountain, and so is a human. Yes. But putting them together in that one definition, that would be an overly simplifying position to take.
So that's a naturalistic worldview.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Well, we have physical things, and then we have metaphysical things.
Okay, fine. So this is, you said, reach the truth, be close to the truth, and reach the morality. What else, actually? So maybe I can, morality factor.
Yeah.
Definitely ask.
Yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah, morality. We can be more acceptable towards facts. We learn through reason,
okay,
or through science.
Mm-hmm. So that's what atheism offers.
Yeah, basically in a nutshell, yeah, I'd say that.
And all right, so we can. Do you want to talk about like the meaning of life?
Yeah, I can briefly tell you. Basically, as I said in my video, meaning of life is we are born as an accident. Mm-hmm. There's no plan behind it. But now we're born. What do we do with our lives? Okay. The short answer is we can do whatever we want with our lives. Obviously, we have to form our morality. We have to create a society, and then we have to behave in a certain manner.
Great. So you think we were born accidentally? There was no conscious being that, there was no will, there was no plan, there was no design. We were just born accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you give me any example in the world after this event that anything else was born accidentally in observable universe?
The universe itself.
So, I mean, observable universe.
Yeah, the observable universe itself.
Observed today.
Sorry?
I mean, something you observe.
Yeah, so you want an example where things form out of accident. Well, everything. The mountains form. There are reasons behind why they're formed, but there's no reason.
Because of the folding phenomena.
Sorry, say it again.
Mountains are formed because of the folding phenomena.
Yeah. Well, there are three more ways of how mountains are formed, but that explains us the process how they're formed, not why they're formed.
Okay, I mean, it does says why they're formed, because they're formed to give stability to the earth.
Well, there's no stability factor. Mountains don't.
This is not my In my view, this is a view of one author. He read the book The Earth, and he claimed, I forgot his name, what's his name, but he claimed this is what it is. But anyways,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I've discussed that in my book as well. There is nothing to do with. Yeah, well, I've written a book. It should be out hopefully in a couple of months. So please buy a copy. Yeah, so no, unfortunately, again, this is another example of what I was saying, that people accepting science is because it's in line with the Quranic verse. The mountains were formed to give stability to Earth. I mean, mountains have got nothing to do with the stability of Earth. Earth is round. Whether Himalayas were there or not, Earth is not going to become unstable.
No, I did not say the Quran said that. I said the scientists.
But I know Quran does say it. I know there is a verse about.
There are many verses. There are many verses. But the point I want to make is just to have a basic understanding of our arguments. Do you believe science offers absolute truth or facts?
About certain things, yes.
For example?
Earth is round, sun doesn't revolve around Earth, Earth goes around the sun.
So there are few things, they're self-evident truth that, cross-century people could believe it, but there are very few examples. For example, if you say, I saw my friends and I saw his face, or I saw his back, because you can conclude because he was facing you or his face was not towards you, that's why you saw his back or face. So these are certain like absolute truth and they're self-evident truth. But the point I want to make is, do you believe that science offers absolute facts and absolute truth?
Well, as I said, when we have developed a certain understanding, yeah, that is absolute fact. As I said, sun going around Earth and Earth being round, etc. So it's an example of science giving us an absolute truth. Now that doesn't mean science gives us an answer for everything.
Good. So my point is, this is what we believe today. It could not be the case in next 1,000 years.
No, I don't think Earth is going to stop spinning around Earth.
No, that's what you don't think. But scientists, for example, the German scientist Johannes Kepler, that was his theory. Before, people thought in different things. They thought in geocentrism theory, and
Yeah, and Kepler came in.
I'm sure he's not my neighbor, but we live in the same country. He left. He was here. The point is, I've read his theory, and people thought differently, and today they have different ideas. So this proves that sciences keep on changing, and the scientists and the philosophy of science, they will never say this is the absolute truth. They say we have enough scientific descriptions and reason to believe so and so. You get my point? It can obviously change because science is very limited to induction and to physical process, and definitely change. So if you say so, then scientists and philosophy of science doesn't agree with the
No, I don't agree the way you've painted the picture. As I said, when Kepler came in, that's what scientists do. That's what science does. It breaks away the myths. It breaks away the failed understanding, and it comes forward with evidence, and it gives us the evidence, and it gives us the truth. I know the different definition that you go into quantum physics, etc. Well, because we don't understand it in its entirety.
Even in the biology field, even in the evolutionary biology and the other things, the scientists never said this is absolute truth. You get my point? There's no such
evolution. Evolution is an established fact. It's an observed fact. So no scientist. No, I've read all these testimonies, and there's I forgot the name of the website, or it was created by the scientists that disagree with evolution. When you try to look up their names, you can't find them. Evolution itself is a fact. How much evolution, what evolution is going to happen in 1,000 years? We don't know that. We cannot predict that. There are too many variables involved. Now, let me finish my point, because you said that absolute truth. Yes, science is all about learning new things. There are a million things we don't understand today. So that is not to say that science is changing its position. Well, yeah, science can change position if one scientist was wrong. I mean, in case of evolution, I believe it was called something. I can't remember the name of the fraud. I mean, that scientist had contaminated the evidence. He had put in pig bones, etc. To show to show human evolution. Now, he obviously committed fraud. He tried to mislead, tried to win some prizes or whatever. Now, that is not to say that the science got it wrong. I mean, that person, the scientist, did the wrong thing. Now, evolution is an observed fact. It is not changing. Yes, I mean, if something happens, the world comes to an end, there would be no living beings to evolve. So then you can say there's no evolution anymore. But there are absolute truths. Science takes us closer to the truth. Now, absolute truth that you can say, well, what is absolute? Is it 100% or is it 99.99%?
This is, again, the truth is subjective. What is truth and what's false? It's a very subjective question. I mean, concerning from the naturalistic worldview. But the point I want to make is science is limited to observation and science is limited to induction. So is it true or not?
Yeah, that's fine. Empiricists
yes,
yeah, that's fine.
Observe, for example, they observe 5 apples and apples are red. They will conclude the apples are red because they haven't observed they have yellow apples and there are different apples as well. Science is limited to observation and to the physical process and to induction. It's always changed. It has been changing since time, and I can give you the names of the changes happen even today. How we see DNA. The recent discovery said DNA doesn't look like the way we see it, and people believe it. People thought the Earth is flat, and it's no longer flat. People have different theory about astronomy, and we don't hold to those theories these days. So sciences keep on changing. So scientists themselves, I'm not saying there's a huge problem with academia and the people who present science, and not when they popularize certain theories, there's a huge gap. The problem is the philosophy of science say A, and the people who popularize science, for example, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, and they say something else because they're keeping people aware to understand the philosophy of science. If you agree, disagree, it's fine. It's totally okay.
No, I disagree. I'll just end it. I disagree. As I've already said it, that science is about learning new truths.
This is what I'm saying. So new observation come, new conclusion we have.
Yeah. So, but when we get to a certain level of truth, we don't need to discover anything more. Yeah, you can better instrumentation will tell us the degree of Earth's tilt to a better.
This is one of the
so we can sharpen it more and more with a better instrumentation or better mathematical equations or better understanding. But science is about learning new things. If there was bad science in the past when people couldn't observe the Earth from the outer space and they couldn't work out that Earth is round, then it was the lack of their understanding. It was bad science. That doesn't mean science is wrong.
This is what I'm saying again. Science is limited to observation. This is one of the limitations. I didn't say the whole science. Okay, this is one of the limitations. The other limitation, science is observing the physical world. Science observe what's available to them, and obviously they can't answer certain questions about morality, the reason behind it, why this happened, and the many physical I'm fasting. Unfortunately, I'm stumbling as when I'm fasting. Right, metaphysical things they can't answer. So the point is the meaning of life video.
They can't answer today. They can't answer today, so they may be able to answer certain things in the future.
Again, they will never be answered to define morality for those things and reason behind those things. For example, let me give you an example. Okay, for example, you have auntie, right? In Pakistan, of course, you have auntie, and you have uncle, chacha, mamu, and all those people they have, right? And some of them they're very problematic, by the way. I'm sure you know about this, yeah. Because again, we are neighbors. I'm from Afghanistan, you're from Pakistan, so we understand each other more closely, the cultural things. If your auntie, I mean, she came up with a nice clothes or nice cake, and she just gifted you a cake, you get my point? And then you say, oh my God, why she suddenly did give me a cake? And then you can only, to understand why she did that, you can only observe the cake. So you will find things in the cake, but you'll never be able to find the intention behind the cake and why she gave you, what was her intention. You get my point? These are things that you never be able to observe or give any answer.
Yeah, well, I fail to see the relevance. I mean, it seems to me that you're using these examples. I mean, we can certainly find out her intentions behind the cake. We can reason it. We can find out by asking more questions. We can find out what was the intention behind it. Why did she bring a chocolate cake or a strawberry or fresh cream cake? So,
okay. So how we can find out?
We can ask her questions.
This is what I'm saying. Again, physical, right?
Yeah.
So
what's wrong with that?
Limited with only, for example, if she died, then?
Well, then I guess we would never know.
This is the point. So that was science. I'm saying the limitation of science only to physical world.
Yeah, I agree with you that I conceded that it's not even a concession. It's a fact. We rely on the empirical evidence or rationalist evidence. These are the two highest form of philosophy. We can be empiricist or we can be rationalist. We can empirically measure something, or otherwise we can come to a conclusion through reasoning, or which you can use deductive or inductive reasoning, etc. And in the actual science, the physical science that we use, it relies heavily on mathematical equations and better instrumentation. Instrumentations can improve. We know that it would improve. And we will learn new things and we will come to better conclusions. If a person is dead, unfortunately, as we believe, there is no afterlife. So I can't go back to her and ask her, why did she bring me the cake that I don't like?
This is, I mean, there are a lot of things to discuss, but what we should do is, we need to be, we discuss only one point. We can have many sessions and discuss things.
I guess we can move on from this.
Yeah, okay. I don't see still people are commenting. I don't know why. I'm sure people are commenting. It could be possible.
Does it tell you how many people are watching? Because Q&A,
yes.
Oh, okay.
7 people are watching, and I'm sure there are people commenting as well, but I can't see it. I don't know what's wrong. The chat
there is a Q&A button.
Screen share, the camera, chat room, 8 people.
I think it's a 4th button from the top where you can see Q&A.
Yeah, I can see it actually here, the chat group. Yeah. No, there's a okay. I think there's another
one. I don't know. It's opening. Okay, I've clicked Q&A. It's opening. It's taking a bit of time, but anyway. So yeah. I mean,
okay. Let me.
We've already started with a disagreement. I think we agree on a thing that yes, science evolves and science is limited. You say that it's limited. I see it as the only way to find the truth. That's where I think we disagree.
This is something that, of course, this is not a topic that we can agree in one live session. It requires a lot of discussion to conclude or form a conclusion. So now I want to talk about this meaning of life thing. I want to talk about this. Can you speak more about this?
Yeah, well, I mean, religious people in religious households, they are raised with the understanding that the meaning of life is to be good, and because you have a day to, you have a God to answer to on the final day. Now, when people see a problem, this is just one aspect of it. Obviously, there are plenty of other problems with religion. So when you leave faith, then because of this, all the indoctrination they've had over the years, some of them can fail to understand the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? On a universal scale, there is no purpose of life. We are an accident. We are born as a human, as an accident. We're born in a certain era of human history as an accident, and there is no there's no purpose on a universal scale. Now, but we're born now. What do we do with our lives? I mean, we can try to become a rich businessman. We can try to become we can try to become a social worker, or we can try to be a scientist, etc. So that purpose is something that we are giving to ourselves while we are alive. One can argue that the purpose of life should be try to be as happy as you can, and we can obviously. I've heard all types of counterclaims on that claim. Which I'll leave it to you if you want to ask me that question. So yeah, so the purpose is basically the meaning of life is life is an accident, and now whatever purpose we find it ourselves.
Okay. So that's what you're saying, that life is basically meaningless.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, well, meaningless if you yeah, well, on a universal scale, it's meaningless. But when we're born, it's no longer meaningless. Now I'm alive. I can see the world around me. It's not meaningless for me to be alive. I don't want to be killed. I want to be able to enjoy the life. So it's meaningful for me.
But again, it was like the reason behind was there was no reason. So you were born meaningless. Now you find meaning. You're trying
No, no, there's a difference. I'm born as an accident. That's not the same thing as saying it's meaningless.
Let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about this accident. You believe that you were born as an accident, true?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And how you could reach that conclusion?
Well, because there's no conscious design behind it. We have no evidence to say that someone designed me. And someone said in the year 1983, 1981, my father's going to meet my mother, and then he's going to have a daughter, and then he's going to have Harris Sultan, who's going to grow up, who's going to be born in a Muslim house, who's going to be raised as a Muslim, and then one day he's going to say, I am no longer a Muslim. That's his meaning. I mean, there's no evidence behind any of that. So it's an accident that I'm born.
That's not what Islam is suggesting, the way you're putting it. Let me give a short review what Islam says. Okay.
Sure.
Islam. I will just try to make it simple so people understand this.
Sure.
Here. Islam says that we have created human being and we send them to the earth, which of course have you read the Quran and the story of Adam and Eve? You believe it or not, it's a different thing. And again, the same thing, that they should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the word worship is used as loving, knowing God. We Islam believe that there was conscious design for the human being, and there was a will for the creation, there was meaning for their life. So now you're saying life is meaningless. So you are.
Well, what is the meaning? So what is the meaning?
The creation, the creation, it was accident. So actually creating more problems than the solutions. If you say, let me tell you now. If you say that we were born out of accident, number one, you don't have sufficient evidence to say that. I mean, based on
that would be a default position, because we don't have any evidence of any designer.
Good. If I give you the evidence for that, that it was an accident, will you believe it?
Well, of course I will. Good luck with that. I mean, I don't think anyone has ever been able to produce that evidence in the recorded 10,000 years of history. But anyway, good luck.
Surely I will do. No problem.
But I would believe in it. I would believe in it.
Let me complete what I have to say. And then you were saying that, okay, fine, we were unconscious design and somehow pop up in the universe and different matters, and then somehow human beings, animals, and they were formed. And then conclusion, we are human beings. You can say that's upper form of matters and molecules, whatever you name it. And then suddenly you say that we find reasons and we find consciousness, and suddenly without this is actually a blind random process, a physical process, and we have consciousness, and none of other matters, they have consciousness. For example, the stones and many other things, and somehow we have consciousness. There is no and then we can have meaning for our own life, because since I'm alive, I don't want to die. That's what you're suggesting.
Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah.
Okay, then tell me how we have consciousness from this random blind physical process.
We don't know that. Consciousness is a hard question. It's called, we don't know why do we have consciousness. Is the level of consciousness different between an amoeba and a human?
Yes, but we can use our logics to conclude that. We can use deductive reasoning.
Well, okay, well, go ahead. Good luck. You will win a Nobel Prize if you go work that out. If there was a Nobel Prize for philosophy.
No, basically, this is not. It's actually, mostly right now we are dealing with the social construction. We haven't really talked about the things that the people have accepted in worldview. This is mostly I'm sorry, this is what I say. Okay, of course you've said things Islam is immoral. I see atheism as a bunch of sheep following the social construct.
Yeah, that's overly simplifying it.
This is what I see. For example,
you're free to say that, and you're free to say that as well.
The deductive reasoning. So deductively, we can conclude. For example, okay, Pakistan is an Asia. And for example, okay, Pakistan and you were born, you were Pakistani, and the nationality you had was by birth, for example, and you were born in Karachi. So we can conclude that Karachi is in the Pakistan. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good.
All the first two premises are correct, so the conclusion is correct.
True. So now we are coming to the point, our consciousness. If for example, if everything's a blind process and then there's no conscious design, so therefore we can't really trust our consciousness or reasons.
No, how do you? That's a massive assumption. How do you?
For example, if you say everything's a blind process and there was no conscious design and there was no conscious being to guide our consciousness, then how you define your reasoning, then how you trust your reasoning.
We trust our reasoning on the basis of the evidence and the counter arguments that we can use. I can give an argument too. I mean, if you stab a human being with a knife, it causes immense suffering to that human being. So now that's premise number one. So the premise number two is stabbing someone is sufferable. So the conclusion is stabbing someone is going to cause suffering, which is a bad thing. Now that is just simple deductive reasoning. It doesn't need anything else beyond that. So I fail to understand where the conscious being, your premise comes in.
For example, how you conclude how that guy felt when you stab him and all those things. How you can conclude that?
We're reasoning, as I said, based on the evidence that we have.
What I'm saying, we are only reasoning the physical, how he felt and the molecules and everything, but his personal feelings.
What do you mean personal feelings? Like sorry?
How he felt personally when you stab him.
Or the person who's getting stabbed or the person who is stabbing?
The person who's getting stabbed.
Well, because of pain, we know we can experience pain. And that's a feeling. So we can tell. It's an observable. It's an observable process. So we know that there is a pain which results in suffering. So that is what our brain tells us.
But this is what I'm saying. But you can never see how he felt without the pain, without the physical correlation.
No, that's how experiences work, because I can try to stab myself and I can feel how it feels, and because he's also a human being, he's exactly like me, and he bleeds just like me. So that means it would be sufferable for him as well. It's a very simple conclusion. I don't need to see what is going on in his brain at that very moment. As far as that pain is concerned, we can tell that our experience would be extremely painful for that person.
I get that point, but my point is I'm talking about personal subjective feelings. For example, let's the stabbing will be more it's more obvious. Let's talk about ice cream. If two people have ice creams and each one they have different taste of the ice cream. You know, if we are from naturalistic process, then all of us should have the same taste because we're same naturalistic process and all should have the same conclusion. Then why we have different feelings?
Well, you mean why does one person prefers vanilla over chocolate flavor? Is that what you're trying to say?
If we both having chocolate ice cream, and we are both having different feelings.
Yeah, so we have different feelings. I mean,
why is that?
Your brain is more inclined to like chocolate. Ice cream. My brain doesn't like it as much as you like ice cream. So I mean, the detailed processes of what goes on in the brain is.
I'm speaking about. You need to explain these things from the naturalistic point of view. How we reach these conclusions. This is what I'm talking about.
Well, I've already answered that. I've already answered that. But that goes into people's personal feelings. I mean, we cannot observe the actual feelings.
This is what I'm talking about. Since
no. That's
how we reach to that conclusion that we have personal feelings.
Because we do have personal feelings.
I mean, explain to me from the naturalistic worldview. You're getting my point again.
I really don't understand the point you're trying to make, because personal feelings are observable phenomena. We know we have certain.
Observe somebody's tasting ice cream.
Well, I have to get an evidence from him. Do you like ice cream? How much ice cream do you like?
What if he's lying?
Well, if he's lying, then he's lying.
Then how you?
No. Well, then I don't know that. Well, what's so special about that?
This is what I'm talking about, right? Since if you don't know, and your logic is again not trusted, you get my point. The logic you're using to find the truth is not trusted. Then how we can have our own reasons to logic? I mean, how we can trust our reasoning for the truth if we are involving all the physical process?
Yeah, well, in this case, we would not know, because we don't have the technological capability to work out what's going on in his brain. So that is limited. But that is subjected. That is subject to our limitations. Now, what would you do? Let me tell you something. What would you do when in 50 years' time we have instrumentation that can actually put a device on your brain and it can tell you, and we do have polygraph tests which do tell us whether someone is lying or not. and it's getting better and better.
Yeah.
So we know what part of the brain lights up when someone lies, or when someone is telling the truth, or when someone is happy. So instrumentation is only getting better. It is getting better. So I don't understand.
Feeling.
Sorry?
That will never tell you how the person is feeling.
How do you know they would never tell that? How do you know that?
Because science is limited to the physical process.
Yeah, but this is what is
neuropsychology, and in neurology and neuroscientists, they can never explain a person's feelings. They can only correlate some biological relationship, some biology.
So you're making a claim that science would never be able to explain what a human is feeling.
No, science. I don't know what people understand from the science. I don't really. Okay, tell me, what is science for you?
Well, science is finding out the truth.
And what is
with evidence, whatever truth there is in the universe.
What is the truth?
What is the truth?
Yes.
Well, the truth is whatever is a fact, whatever can be observed, whatever can be measured, whatever can be replicated and demonstrated.
And there are a lot of things you cannot measure, you cannot see it, and then.
For example, I'd like to know the examples.
For example, the feeling of your mother.
Yeah, the feeling of a mother.
Yes.
Yes, as I said, that is limited to our understanding of a human brain. You don't know, and nor you can make a claim that in 500 years' time, our instrumentation would not be good enough to tell. We're already so close in knowing when someone is happy, what part of the brain lights up. Okay. We cannot replicate that. Okay. That is lack of instrumentation.
I think we can leave this. I will just present my part of the arguments, and then you can present yours, and we can leave this and move to the second topic. What I'm saying, okay, science is limited to observation, and science is limited to induction. So based on these two premises, science will never be able to find reason behind things. Number one, science will never be able to answer the moral questions, and science is keep on changing. Science is never absolutely true. So it keeps on changing to the point where we can even be wrong about evolution. Tomorrow the scientists will come, okay, you guys are wrong, what you're talking about. And by the way, I'm not denying evolution as a whole. I'm not accepting macroevolution, but MIC, macroevolution, I'm accepting. I've seen bit bags in my house when I was in Malaysia, and they were evolving time to time. I've observed them physically, but I cannot say that macroevolution exists. For example, human beings are turned into something else, and something turned to human being. Again, there's a different discussion. Maybe we can have a second session about evolution and discuss our point of view. But this is my understanding of science, and this is what the philosophy of science say. Many scientists, no scientist will tell you that this is an absolute fact and it's not changeable. It will keep on changing. And even if you reach to the level where this is absolute and there is no need to change, yet you will not be able to find the more reason behind certain things happening. You will not find the reason why it's happening, and you will not find the reason they're saying the truth. For example, truth is very subjective. For you, something is fact. For somebody else, it's not a fact. And if we're only speaking about the physical world, and there are conceptual things that you will never be said. For example, your two people, the two brothers, they had a fight. And the one says that, okay, look, he took my cash money and used it. And the other says, no, he took my things. And so there is no physical things involved. Then how you find the truth between them? You get my point? So of course, what you can do is, if you take the extreme level of science, you will correlate the lie detector, who is lying, who is not lying, but yet everything is limited to physical world. And there are many things you can give examples. This is my point of view, and you can present yours and let people decide.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I saw a lot of selective statements in there. My point obviously is totally different to that. Science is about finding the truth. Science is always evolving. Science getting better at something doesn't mean it's changing. If it has to change over something, then it means the previous science was wrong. There is no denial. There is no denial in the scientific community about evolution. Evolution is an observable fact. We get medication. We have evolving vaccination purely because the lifespan of a bacteria is so well. Okay, well, I guess you've already admitted that there's microevolution, but not macroevolution. Well, anyone who doesn't understand macroevolution, I would tell you to read a book, search for it. It's very simple. We can even see examples. 30% of us humans no longer grow wisdom teeth. Why don't we grow wisdom teeth? Because our jaws have been getting smaller and smaller for the last 200,000 years. You can look up the most clear example called Croatian lizards, where scientists in the 70s took the lizards out of the island, out of the mainland, and put them on the island. within 40 years, the structure of the jaw, the gut evolved. No, hang on. No.
Because I have to. Then, if you're making some points about the evolution, then I have to reply. If I'm going to reply, you'll be missing topics.
You can reply.
No, the
please
best thing about evolution, what we do is we speak next week, same Sunday. What do you think?
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. We can look into that.
Points about evolution, then I have to reply them again. We're gonna.
No. Yeah, but you gave your whole catharsis on what science is and how science is formed. So I'm explaining my version of what science is, and I'm telling you, science is all about finding the truth. Yes, it always gets better and better with better instrumentation and better understanding. But the goal is to get towards the truth. Now, the absolute truth. Now, you can throw in that term. Okay, well, that becomes that becomes a statement coming from arrogance, that I know that this is exactly how it is. Well, science never takes an arrogant position, because we know that our understanding is limited, our brains are limited, our intelligence is limited. We have to just get better and better at it as we learn more collective knowledge. If Newton came today, he would be just as intelligent as Einstein, probably, but he did not have the knowledge that Einstein had. So this is how basically science works. It evolves over time. It gets better and better. That is not the same as saying it's changing.
Why certain things happen?
Sorry?
The science will never be able to answer the why question and the moral questions.
Well, okay. With moral questions, there are some other people who actually disagree with that. But we can get morality from science. I'm not fully sold on the idea. I think science morality can only come from reasoning. Whatever reasoning you want to use with better argumentation, that's how morality comes. I'll finish my point. I'll wrap it up, the point on science. But the why question is a useless question. Science answers how question: how the mountain formed, how the earth formed, or even though we can say why, how we get days and nights, but the why Earth orbits around the sun instead of sun orbiting around Earth, that is a useless question. It is not. It doesn't deserve an answer.
No, for example, okay, if you're going to office for an interview, just let me give you a real example, right? And then you are just standing in the middle of building, and they're asking you why you come here, and you're explaining the process, how you get there. So do you think?
Yeah, exactly, as you said it. So how you get there?
This is what I'm saying. The question is why you come there. A person's asking you why you come here.
Yeah, but that's not a scientific question. That is not.
Question. This is a conceptual question. It's a daily life question. I'm going to give you a scientific question as well, example as well. But this is, if you explain to him how you come here, do you think it will answer the question?
How I came there? Yes, of course.
Let me give you an example. For example, you slept now, and you middle of night you woke up somewhere else, and you see the heavenly houses and everything is there perfect. Will you question why I'm here, or who put me here, what happened to me? I will just question the process, how I can enjoy these things, and just not question the whole point. What happened to me that
again, it's not. Yeah, it's not a scientific question.
Again, it's a scientific question, because I don't know what's you're limiting science. Science is basically in a Greek's word, it's actually scientia, which means knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
Which means knowledge. And why some people have to limit science only with the physical process and physical beings? Science is a knowledge, and you can do anything. And this is a very knowledgeable question. So that means it's a very scientific question. Science doesn't mean, okay, I have the pen, this is the science. You get my point? So
well, we can define. We can
ask people why.
Yeah, we can define science any which way, but you know exactly which science I'm referring to. So there's no need to go into the semantics of it. The science that I'm referring to is trying to understand the physical natural processes in the universe we occupy. It's not about why I'm sitting and why I'm not standing right now. Sorry, say it again.
You are defining everything via physical process.
With the physical natural processes that happen in the universe, that's what I'm talking about. I'm specifically talking about physics, which what we call physics, basically. I'm not talking about so many other questions that you can ask.
Okay, can you explain to me physically how we have rationality, physical process?
Rationality. Well, rationality is man-made. It's our consciousness has forced us to come up with rationality.
And how we have consciousness?
Well, we don't know why we have consciousness, or how we have consciousness. We don't know that.
We'll never be able to explain that.
Well, I don't know. We would never be able to answer. I would never say we would never be able to answer that. We just don't know. I mean, you could say that 1,000 years ago, a man would never be able to walk on the moon. You'd be, anyone who said that, oh, one day we'll be able to walk on the moon, that would be crazy. I would never say that this thing would never be answered.
We are speaking about natural process, and we understand the philosophy of natural process right now. And then based on this philosophy, we understand that we will never be able to find out how we have the rationality. If you say, yes, we don't know yet, we will find out, again, you admit that the limitation of science.
Of course, there are limitations in science. I've already said that multiple times.
The physical process things. So you can never say it's based on physical process, we will have the conclusion. So you're taking a faith.
No, it's not on faith. It's based on evidence. It's exactly the opposite.
Evidence for the rationality.
Well, what do you mean? I didn't understand the question.
What evidence do you have to conclude that your rational being, your rationality is trusted?
Through better argumentation, we can reason, we can see that what works and what doesn't work. With rationality,
that person
no. Okay, well, I can turn that around on you too. That why are you rationally trying to prove to your audience or anyone else you speak with that this universe was created by a sentient being? You're trying to use reason, and you're trying to use.
That's my last part of the argument. It's fine, we can discuss it, but I just want to conclude how you trust your rationality. That's a point. Via the naturalistic worldview or atheistic worldview, how you can trust what you are saying. You are capable to say that.
Yeah, well, rationality works on argumentation, and argumentations work on premises. Premises work on facts. So that is limited to what we know for a fact, and then we can create a premises on that, and on top of that we can get to the conclusion. So that's how rationality works. So yes, we don't know what goes on inside the head of an ant. So I can't tell you whether an ant feels more pain or less pain when you pluck out his leg. So we don't know that. So that's fine, but that is limited. Of course, I've never said that science is not limited. Science is limited to the observable evidence that we can obtain. Now, that observable evidence can improve with better instrumentation or with better mathematical equations. I don't see the problem with that.
Let me we are speaking about survival based on the naturalistic worldview. So based on the definition of survival, and we have this, for example, what happened is, do you believe rationality is just a correlation or response to the events happen to us, or over the years, and that's how we become rational being? That's what you say that. That's what you're trying to say right now, right?
So yeah, you could say that, because the events that happen in our lives give us knowledge, and knowledge give us facts, and facts can lead to premises. Yes, so the premise that we can make in an argument, which can result in I'd agree with that.
So you agree with that, and you're saying that you're just replying to the. So then you can never make a rational decision if that's argument. Let me give you an example.
What? How? Explain.
For example, to the computer, you have certain data and hardware and things like that. For example, let me give you an example of your picture. You have on desktop and using MacBook, and there's a certain number for that. We call it code, and people who know this 01 things is different. And there's a code for that. If, for example, the computer will give instruction to the keyboard, if, for example, somebody click on this button or so on and so forth, and this code is called, then this retaliation and this response should go. This picture should go. You get my point on the screen?
Yeah.
So if we human beings are like,
yeah, sorry, go on. Yeah.
Okay. If that is the case, then we cannot have our own conclusion, because we can only react to the events.
Yeah, well, I'm saying,
this is what I'm saying. Then how you reach the conclusion in the first place that the universe is accident, because you never experienced that, it never has such thing. How you rationalize that point?
Well, we rationalize that because the counter argument that the counter argument that we've been given is not convincing enough. That is not rational either. That's how it works.
Maybe this is a point from naturalistic worldview. If you are only responding to the events, right? You don't have your own intelligence. You don't have your own. The intelligence limited to events. What happened?
your intelligence relies on events. Now, but no, let's be clear on that. The events don't necessarily mean my personal life events. We're talking about events that we understand in other people's lives too. I mean, for example, I can use Einstein's conclusion on theory of relativity. So I don't have to observe the experiment that led him to the theory of relativity to conclude to that conclusion. And now we know that one person has come to that conclusion, and the rest of the world can go with it. So the events is basically how we're using that word. Events is synonymous with the word knowledge, and knowledge that we have obtained. In the light of that knowledge, yes, we form our rationality and our conclusions, which is, again, as we've already spoken, it is limited. We don't have the knowledge of everything, so we cannot have conclusions for everything as well.
The problem, the thing is now, again, this is my last point because I want to move to other points.
Sure.
If you ask me, I give you pen, give me bag. Give you paper, give me pen. So these are all events happening to us, and then we can, and based on that, if one day you ask me, where's my pen, I can say I put it there. You get my point? Because you gave me an experience it. So the point is, if suddenly
so it's knowledge. Yes, it's
suddenly you come up with something else to the computer. For example, you search something else, and you can the computer take decisions without having the knowledge?
No, of course not.
Correct. Then how human beings can have their decisions?
No, but because computers don't have consciousness. We have consciousness. We can work out. We can reason independent. No, but we can reason independently. We can't. We've already established that. We're going in a circles here.
The ability to reason independently. How we have this ability without divine influence, or you can have that based on naturalistic worldview.
We've already said we don't know the consciousness. We haven't understood. But no, hang on a second. But you're putting something else from outside, and your best answer is that divine being has done it. You have I can easily turn your argument around, and I can easily say that, well, hang on, you have no events of that, you have no knowledge of that, so how are you coming to that conclusion? Now you're going to say
that's a good question. That's an excellent question, and I will be able to answer this question. There's no issue. But the point I was trying to articulate, and a point trying to get from you, is that from a naturalistic worldview, we will never be able to reach a certain conclusion if you use that process and that model of understanding of the world. Do you agree with that?
No, we don't. No, it's a linear process. It's a linear process.
Let's agree with disagreement.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's agree to disagree and move on.
That's totally fine. And I would like to know the statement that you have in that video that Islam is bizarre, that beats wife if they don't have obedience, it's useless religion, it's merciless religion. Of course, I really want to talk about the existing of God and how if the world without God and world with God, that would be different. Since today, actually, we're supposed to speak at 1. It was my mistake. We're supposed to do that, but I took a different. And definitely we can have a next week's session and we can choose a topic. But can you explain this to me? How you have come to the conclusion that Islam is a useless religion?
Which video are you referring to? Because they don't really seem like my words. I have said it in my. Is that the one in which I'm wearing a pink shirt?
Yes.
Okay. You're paraphrasing me, but you're doing a terrible job in doing that.
No, it's not. I can read words.
Okay.
Read
it. Yeah, read it to me. Verbatim.
Okay. You said you can be bitten. Your wife can be bitten for disobedience.
Yeah.
Your words.
Yeah. No. This is my word. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Then explain to me how you reach that conclusion and say Islam says that.
Well, chapter 4, verse 34 says it very clearly. You can beat up your disobedient wife.
Can you recite and explain how it says that?
Well, I don't have it in front of me. It says, I'll paraphrase it for you, that if you fear arrogance from your wife, first tell her off, then stop sleeping with her, and then finally strike her.
Okay. Do you have any example from the Prophet's life and from the companions that he has any beaten any woman in their life?
Well, there is one hadith where when Aisha followed Muhammad at night time, and then she hurried back home, and Muhammad asked, where were you? Why you're out of breath? And she said, I saw you and I saw a shadow and I got scared, and then Prophet hit me on the chest. That's one example.
Okay.
We don't have any other examples.
No.
Yeah, go on.
It's if I'm I do that with my sisters when I'm like, for example, like I lovely slap them. I give even to the kids. So you don't have to take it the way he hit me. There is no word Arabic used of hit there.
No, but she said Prophet hit me and then it caused me pain. And it caused me pain.
Where is that hadith saying that it caused me pain?
I can find out for you. I don't have it in front of me right now. If I knew, you would have asked me. I would have found it. It is in Bukhari and Muslim.
Okay.
If you follow those hadiths, I'm sorry, bad luck. You're gonna have to ignore. Yeah, you're gonna either have to ignore it or you have to cherry pick it.
If we Muslim were regretful of having those hadiths, we have already taken off from our books, but we haven't. You can still read it because we understand.
But Muslim is a dynamic group of people. Some people would take it, some people wouldn't like it. So some people, that's why we don't have scholars who agree on everything. They're different scholars who disagree.
The true Muslims will never reject a single hadith just because he can't understand it. So
that's your definition. That's your definition. That's your definition of a true Muslim.
That's not my definition. That's Islamic definition. So
no, it's not Islamic definition. Even if we go by the most, we have to go by the most inclusive definition of Islam. That you believe in Allah, which is Tawheed, and then you believe Muhammad being the prophet. Okay, let's include last prophet, and then you believe Quran is a literal word of God. Now that is enough to be a Muslim. The Shahada doesn't say that you have to believe in every single hadith, because we know the hadith came in so much later. Again, I don't care. Either way, I don't care. More power to you for saying that. For leaving people out of Islam. That just weakens your own religion.
No, it's not about. It's not we are like, okay, we are fine with everything. No, it's not. If a person is a Muslim, he believes in Allah, believes in the last day, and he proclaims Shahada. There are conditions for Shahada, and there are also conditions to believe. You cannot just say, I accept this part of the hadith, I reject this hadith, I can accept this saying. You cannot choose and pick and choose.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but that's not how most Muslims are. You know that. And I agree with you. When I became a
Muslims are like that. Maybe a couple of people that you know.
No. That is a profoundly incorrect statement, because we know that. Let me explain my position. Let me explain my position, and then you can comment on that. Most Muslims, why do we have different versions of Islam in Indonesia, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia? People interpret Quran differently. People accept certain hadiths and then on. When I was growing up in Pakistan, I would only see the good hadiths, like really beautiful hadiths on the life of Muhammad. I did not see the camel urine drinking hadiths, or all the beheadings and killing or burning the apostates. I didn't see those hadiths. So those hadiths, not every Muslim believe in those hadiths. So I am being charitable here.
No. You don't have to be. We can't hide what the Islam. The problem with people is they read one hadith. Islam is an institution, so you have to understand the institution, not like one events and what happened. And of course, I can answer the question for you. How you can conclude that most Muslims, when I'm involved with the Muslim community, and of course I'm traveling, and maybe you have certain friends in Pakistan and families, and you can see them, and that's how you conclude most Muslim, and that's not true. Most Muslim, they believe everything that's the Sunnah and the Quran. And based on the interpretation you said, I have lived my life 5 years in Malaysia, more than 5 years, and I've never seen their interpretation different than Afghanistan. But there's only few things that they say, okay, look, we do it in this way.
There are few things.
In that way.
So there are few things.
There are few things, of course.
Okay, so they're not Muslims then?
Of course they're Muslims.
They're not Muslims?
They're Muslims. But if they mind.
How are the few things different then? I mean, why do certain women wear hijab, certain Muslims don't? Why is it? Why certain Muslims believe that homosexuality is a punishable crime? Some believe no, it's leave it how it is. Why certain people think it's okay to strike your wife, and maybe it's not okay to strike your wife? I mean, people interpret Quran differently.
No, this is their understanding. This is their understanding.
Exactly. My point. That was my point.
The point that you created, that to understand there were certain hadiths we should not accept. That's what you said in the initial stage.
No. So yeah, it's coming from understanding. So they are understanding it differently. You're understanding it differently. So that is bad for Muslims, I believe. If we start saying that, well, this is a true Muslim and that is not a true Muslim. But again, it's not my problem. I mean, that's something you guys can work out. So we can move to the next point. So that was my answer for striking the wife.
Again, let me comment on striking the wife. Number one, if you really read the authentic sources, and I know there are some people, they have different view based on their limited knowledge, and you will find that this is not something in the Quran. It's not from Islam. And of course, I have given a lot of, I have lectured on this point, and people can say, but as simple as we cannot find examples. So second verse will suggest that that word daraba has multiple meanings, and one of the meaning is, for example, Atta bin Ali, he says that to show, for example, I'm showing, can you know, ignore I'm showing reaction, and there's a different, and some people say no, this is only for the government to scare the wife and say don't do that, and same goes the husband. You get the point? So there is no second things, and never happened that in the life of Muhammad that he beat his wives and so on and so forth. The hadith you're quoting, definitely you can mention it, and then we can explain that. We couldn't talk much because we were jumping to so many points. The last point I want to speak about is morality. How, from the atheistic worldview, you have defined this is moral, this is immoral.
How through reason. That's it. That's the only thing. That's the shortest reason. Example. Shortest way to put it. Reason is the only way.
We haven't we haven't concluded that we can trust our reasoning. So that's a different.
But no, that's a disagreement. I think we can trust our reason.
And then, so because of that disagreement, we can't move to the topic of morality. Okay, let's talk about.
We no, but we can. So I mean, you can give your version. I can give my version.
Okay, so tell me. Is it moral for example, for Israel to kill innocent Palestinians?
Absolutely not.
Okay, what about Nazi's government?
What about whose government?
Nazi, the
Nazi. Yeah. Oh no, of course not.
Okay, why it's immoral for them?
Violence. We have to draw a line at violence. We have already established we can work out the golden rule that don't do to others that you don't want done onto you. We can deduce that suffering of living beings is not a good position to be in, and this is how. So that is the reason that we can use to deduce that if suffering is a bad thing to happen to any individual, then we should minimize it.
Okay. So, again, we are going back to the reasonings. So you said it was not good because it caused suffering to the people.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
that's a pretty good start. Yeah.
Okay. So then the difference, if I'm going to break my laptop and break a human being's arm, what will be the main difference between these two? From natural.
Well, human being is a conscious being. Human being is going to suffer, so you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't break anyone's leg.
So
but you can
have conclusion of consciousness, right? Then how we can just say human conscious being?
How we can say whether one is conscious or not?
Yeah.
Well, we can observe that. It's an observable fact.
How you're doing it? Can you please explain?
Well, I'm doing this, so I'm conscious. Can you ask my chair to do this?
I mean, even the machine can do that.
No, but it cannot reason to the level that we can. We know that they don't have consciousness.
Again, we are going back to reasoning where we had a disagreement. Fine. Sure. Now you tell me what conclusion do you have that there is no God?
There's no evidence. There is no God.
Okay.
There's so many.
Evidence?
Sorry, say it again.
Conceptual evidence. Have you thought about conceptual evidence?
Yeah, a lot. I fail to see any reason to believe in any God. I would give you a position to take on. I cannot say that God doesn't exist for certain, because that is a reason. Same way, I would say I cannot say for certain that unicorns don't exist. We can so the reasonable position, period being question. I can say you can call me agnostic atheist on that. I live on my life assuming that there is no God. But what we can do is we can certainly disprove, and I'm using the word disprove, all the gods ever introduced by humanity to mankind, whether that's any god. Let's just stick to monotheistic gods, Abrahamic gods. We can certainly disprove the simple reason, the morality, the bad science gods. it's bad. I mean, the creator of universe, the billions of galaxies, has to be a lot smarter than the evidence that we have. If Quran is a literal word of God, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't look like a word of the creator of billions of galaxies. It looks like a word of I'm sorry to say, 7th century Arab.
Okay, we can also say that maybe it's your understanding that you can see it in that way. It's the lens.
Yeah.
And of course, we can have a different session.
Of course.
You know, because even today I didn't intend to speak on different topics. It will, you know, even right now, many people are confused what you're trying to prove. Same goes to me. So you said that the design is not great enough to believe there's a designer. That's what
no, the universe is not. No, but the universe is not designed.
Okay, what it is?
That's a positive. That's a positive. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I can't hear you. It's breaking up a lot. Yeah, sorry. So I'm saying that universe is not a designed universe. Designed would need a designer. It looks designed. It looks because it's an object. It's a solid thing that we can see. And obviously, it's not all solid. There's dark matter that we don't know about. There's dark energy we don't know about. Universe is a complex thing. You can say that it looks designed, just like a hand looks designed, arms look designed, but we understand, obviously you don't want to go into that for now, but we know that because we have understood the processes behind it through evolution, so we can say that, okay, well, it's an accident, it's an event that is taking place.
Disprove or prove God. In fact, does not disprove God evolution, if you understand.
No.
Clearly, even Charles Darwin, he was an atheist or something. He was agnostic. And he never...
Yeah, Charles Darwin didn't know a lot of things about evolution as well. So Charles Darwin didn't. That doesn't mean science doesn't work from the position of authority. We have learned a lot more about evolution. Charles Darwin is not some sacred being that we cannot criticize. He didn't have the access to knowledge that we have today. We cannot disprove God. I've already told you that.
His method of evolution, biological evolution, to understand certain things.
Sorry, say it again.
I mean, atheists use his method of evolution, right?
Well, okay. Well, his theory was that there is evolution through natural selection. The mutations take place, but he didn't know genes existed. He didn't know about genes. What is that genetic level mutation? He didn't know about that. He was telling that yes, something happens that we change over time. So the attention is always the devil is in the detail.
That's a good idea. So next Sunday, same time, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. is the best.
It's a little bit late for in Australia, so I don't know if.
What about 12?
12 would be good.
Okay, 12. And I would like to invite a friend of mine who has a great study of evolution, better than me, 10 times better, of course.
I don't want to talk just about evolution because I am not an evolutionary biologist either. I have
not just evolution,
my knowledge.
Natural selection, evolution. He has done a great deal of work, and I will definitely invite him, and we can join. He can join us as well.
Well, I don't know if, as I said, if he has studied a lot more, then. I'm not sure if I'm the best person to talk on that subject.
You can invite someone. It's fine if you want to invite someone.
Okay, well, I'll try to get Richard Dawkins.
That'd be better a lot, yeah. So that's one. Okay. Now let me ask a question. This will be our last, so we can conclude 2 p.m. in 12 minutes, something.
Yeah.
And then we can go on next week. It's a scientific phenomena that everything that began to exist, so that has a cause, that everything that is there, I mean, subhanAllah, I'm fasting, everything that has a cause, that means that it began to exist.
Yeah, so these are watchmaker arguments. Like, I mean, there has to be a cause for the universe. Mm-hmm. But no, it may not have a cause. There's so many other alternative ideas. Okay, but even if you go by an external cause, mm-hmm. then that opens a Pandora's box for you. I mean, what was the cause behind God's creation? Of course, you're going to say, well, no, God didn't need that. God was always there. God has always been there from the start, and it would always stay there for eternity. That doesn't solve any problem. In fact, it doesn't. It creates more problems. we can. What if universe is cyclical? Maybe the universe expands and then it collapses in on itself, and then Big Bang happens again. Maybe it's a simulation. Maybe we're inside a giant computer program.
Again, you need the first force.
Sorry.
Again, you need the first force to start it, right?
As Carl Sagan said it very beautifully. He said that if you're going to say that God has been there forever, then why don't you take a step back and say that the universe has been there forever?
The problem is with atheists, they can believe and they can have faith on the universe, but they cannot have faith on God.
No, we don't. No, but we don't have faith in that. I mean, no. But we don't. I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know how the universe started or what happened before the Big Bang.
So you believe something?
No. We can believe in things that we can that have evidence behind it. There is no evidence what happened before the Big Bang. I spoke to a physicist, and he explained it to me. So the scientific answer: we don't know what happened 0.0001 second after the Big Bang or before that.
Okay, since you don't know, but you can choose to believe that there is no God, and you can choose that there can be no possibility. And
but it seems that way that there is no God. I mean, as I said,
it seems denying the universe, denying the laws of the universe, denying everything that's happening, and you're saying it seems there's nothing. It means that you guys are wearing very different lenses to see the world.
No, I don't see any problem with that at all. Maybe it's a different lens from the lenses that you're using, but it seems there's no
lens. I think I'm using there. I can reach the conclusion that there is a designer design the universe.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, you're gonna have to prove that.
You can have, for example, this is the argument being used by Hamza Zorzis. It's argument being used by Dr. Jafar Idris. There's argument used by many other people, and they have Quranic argument. They have taken from the Quran. But I mean, this is something. Of course, we can have many conclusions. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, number one, no, if he says no God, no you, again, there's a chapter in Hamza's books, and I read it was beautifully written. But one of the arguments that really people should reflect is this deductive reasoning and conceptual evidence and how they can conclude that. For example, we can have the reasons where the universe was created out of nothing, and then we can say that and look at it mathematically, scientifically, we can't have this conclusion. The second is, did the universe create itself? Again, we can't have this conclusion based on scientific evidence that we have and conceptual evidence that we have.
Why? How? No. Hang on. How can we not prove the universe created itself?
Okay, then that means your mother gave birth to herself. That can
but hang on. We know the universe is a unique event. You cannot compare universe with the things that are happening inside the universe. That's a straw man. You're simplifying it.
No, this is something, the problem.
Then no. But then I can use a similar logic as well. Well, if you say that God has always been there, well, I can say, well, hang on, who was God's father and mother?
So of course we can come to that point and we talk about that. There's no problem with that, of course. Yeah. But you cannot say the universe created itself based on.
Why? How? What scientific evidence is opposite of that?
There to create itself forever.
We don't know. You think it's an easy answer? No, hang on. You think
this is a very good way to take your position that I don't know, but I'm not interested. I'm not even in. I'm not even in the needs to understand. Is it?
Who's not in the need to understand? You're not in the need to understand.
I mean, you're saying I don't know, but I don't even care to understand it.
I do care to understand. I need a mathematical equation to prove that. I need a singularity mathematical equation to prove that. I don't need someone to tell me, well, you know what, by magic it happened. There was a being out there.
I'm not saying by magic.
It is magic. It is magic.
Actually, this is the atheistic worldview that atheist by magic it came pop to existence again. It was somehow
by God.
By God. Everything. No, I mean this is atheistic worldview, right? It's happened by magic. It's not Muslim view.
No. Atheistic worldview is we don't know what happened. I mean, we're trying to find the answers.
You can have enough faith to believe that it was accident. Then how you can have faith to believe that it was accident since you don't know?
Well, we don't know.
And then how you form a narrative based on accident?
No. Yeah, but it seems like it has to be an accident because
this is what I'm saying. There is no
because it doesn't make sense.
Empirical, positivistic, naturalistic evidence to say. By some evidence, seems the universe was accident.
Yeah,
and then
because
I don't know, but since you don't know, you still form all your arguments based on accident.
Yeah, because the alternative theories that we are given by the other side, that is you, is so much more, I'm sorry for the lack of better terms, ridiculous. When there's nothing given to us by your side. I mean, you're only told us, you tell us, well, there's a being out there who was waiting for eternity. I don't know what, if eternity, this is such a big problem for you. He had been waiting for trillions of years, and then he caused a Big Bang, and then he waited 10 billion years, and solar system is formed, and then he waits another almost 4.5 billion years or 4 billion years, whatever that is, and then then life forms show up, and then 500 million years later, humans show up. How does that make sense?
Problem with the waiting.
Sorry?
You have the problem with the waiting.
Who? Yes, no, but it doesn't make sense.
This is what I'm saying. Why, if for certain things happen, and then what is our point with our limited understanding to question why this happened? Why should I bother about that? Why the universe, the earth was there and the human being came late? Why this happened? Why do I need to question?
No. But we need to no. But when you throw in God in there, then we have to ask why question. Why did He create us in the first place? Why is He putting us through life?
Definitely tell you, but Muslims believe there's certain whys we cannot answer. We will get the answer. We have our life. So
it's okay for you. So it's okay for you to say, well, we don't know that, but we're just going to believe that the God created everything. But it's not okay for us to say that we don't know what happened before the Big Bang. We don't know how the universe started.
Or narrative based on what we have, right? But you are saying your narrative based on accident in which you don't know about the accident.
No. Accident is what? No, accident is one of the positions that we can take.
Okay, so
if there is no conscious being for which there is no evidence, as I said, how ridiculous it sounds to us that a being created the whole universe, then it means if there's no being, then it has to be an accident.
Actually, it sounds more ridiculous to believe that this pencil came out of nothing without any conscious design.
Yeah, straw man.
Same thing.
It's a straw man. It's a straw man. I mean, we know that the artificial is different from natural. What do you think? So the rain comes out of nowhere. So I mean, if a mate with a female and a baby comes out, is God present in the bedroom? Of course not. I mean, these are natural processes. It rain, water evaporates, it goes in the clouds, and then it goes back. Is God putting it in the cloud? No. I mean, these are natural processes that happen by themselves. But there are reasons behind it, which explains how they happen.
The initial state that everything that we have is out of accident. There's many people, they would say this is insane, and some people would say I cannot trust this person's mind, but I don't agree with that person, by the way. That could be his statement.
It's irrelevant.
Since we have time, we have 4 minutes time. It's okay. The first conclusion, we couldn't wish that you said we don't know the universe can have nothing. Logically, we can say that nothing can produce nothing. So therefore, universe did not come out of nothing. You don't agree with that?
No, because the common sense does not apply at the universal level.
Where do you apply common sense?
Well, common sense we apply in our daily lives. Can you tell me? Do you understand that how can one thing be at 2 places at the same time? One thing. For example, electron. That's quantum physics tells us. It's an observed fact. It defies common sense. That's what Albert Einstein said. The spooky action at a distance. So it defies common sense. I still don't understand it. Okay. And Steven Weinberg said that
from common sense, you can, if you have you can have the explanation and in the physical world and how this happened, we can accept it. For example, a person told me, Rahmatullah, I can hear you in Germany, I can hear you in Malaysia. So it doesn't mean, okay, how you can hear me? Oh, by TV. It's fine. You get my point? There's a means.
No. Yeah, again,
I'm giving example.
It's a bad example. It's a bad example because I'm telling you that is explained by common sense that TVs can communicate to multiple destinations in the world. But I'm saying we cannot work out how an electron, one single electron, can be at same place at 2 different places at the same time. We cannot work out. Scientists don't understand that. They don't understand how that happens. But it is an observed fact. All scientists agree in quantum mechanics. So my point is, common sense doesn't apply everywhere. We have a common sense. We're designed to run away from the lions in Africa to survive. We're not meant to make music. We're not meant to to understand quantum physics or what happened before the Big Bang. We're not meant to do that. It's an accident. So okay, you can disagree with that. You can disagree with that. You can disagree with that.
So the point I want to make is that atheists, what they say is, for example, we don't have evidence, we don't know much, and or we are limited, I mean, intellectually, even from the equipment perspective, but yet we can say it was accident.
Yeah, well, it seems that way.
I'm saying
yeah, but it seems, yeah, of course, it seems that way. I mean, unless the default position would be if a baby grows up in a jungle like the Mowgli, I don't know if you're familiar with Jungle Book. If a baby grows up amongst wolves in the jungle, he's not going to know whether there's a concept of God, whether there's a concept of or Big Bang or anything. He's not going to know that. The default position is,
there was research done by the babies, and the default position was there is a God.
No, yeah, well, send me that. Send me. I'd like to. I would love to read their research, and I would love to know who's done that research or what the motives were behind the research.
I will surely. Okay, when there's statistics disproving some naturalistic narrative, then you have to question the guy who did the research.
No, I question it. No, I question everything. I have to be skeptical.
I do that personally. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing. It's a good thing. You should do it. Definitely.
Yeah.
So today, unfortunately, we couldn't have a conclusion. It's fine, but I did learn so many things from you, and I hope you.
I tried to convert to atheism, but it didn't work.
What?
I tried to convert you to atheist, but it didn't work.
No, I didn't try to convert you to Islam.
I know. It's for the people. So, and it's interesting. I think before you conclude that, I really want to finish my point. Thank you very much for having me. I think it's very important, and I would love to come back to the video that you were quoting me. I would suggest that you actually do quote me exactly what I said in the word. Every word is very calculated. No, that's fine. I'm not. Okay, I will verify that again. What else I said? The certain words, keywords were missed. But the bigger picture is, I think you and I mean, obviously you're a devout Muslim. You believe with the whole heart that Islam is the truest religion and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists and all that. So which is a good thing. And we obviously have a opposite view. What we want, basically, fine. And we can find common ground at some point. That whatever happens, I mean, this thing is happening, the ex-Muslims are rising, or whatever that is, what we need to have is be more tolerant towards each other. We need to be more, we need to accept each other. And that's the only way forward. I mean, let's disagree. There's so many things we can disagree on. Even if I was a Muslim, we could disagree on our politics. We could disagree on our, what type of rap artists we like. But the moment it comes to the question of who created the universe, it becomes so emotional. It becomes so problematic. And I know, I'm sure you're a peaceful guy. You seem like a very nice guy. But there are people. I deal with people who are under extreme pressure and extreme misery. Obviously not because of you, but because of certain circumstances. You can blame the society or whatever, and I believe religion in general for that. Whose lives are extremely miserable.
I blame the new atheist movement. So,
okay. So the new atheist movement is telling people to become atheists, and then when they become atheists, when they become atheists, then it becomes a problem that their lives turn violent. I mean, sure, whichever way you want to say. I think we can agree that people should be free to believe in whatever they want to believe.
I agree with you. Let me put my position. Personally speaking, I know people. I had classmates who were atheists, and a person who believes or doesn't believe, my duty, for example, as a Muslim, I believe that I should explain to him and put out my narrative. So I have no rights. I have no rights individually or even from any level to harm anyone or to threat anyone. I have people. If you're making insult against the Prophet, I have to explain to you this is not something correct, and you will not get anywhere out of this.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, what does that mean that if you insult Prophet? I mean, can we criticize the life of Prophet at any point? I mean, can we ask an intellectual question?
Of course.
That is it okay? Is it okay for a man to marry a 9-year-old girl? I mean, I don't use the I don't use
This is
derogatory terms like I don't use the P word, or I don't draw Muhammad up.
Okay, Sultan. This is something that I want people to ask. It's not something that I'm gonna get mad. No, I want people to ask this question.
But
there's one thing.
But
intellectual question is something totally different than the insult. For example, what Charlie Hebdo did, putting that picture. We don't even have a picture of that, right? There are people, for example, there are 16,000 books written against the Prophet, and none of them are intellectual question, mostly emotional. Before you conclude, for example, to certain things, it's better to ask questions, and that's what the we suggest people to ask questions. It's a very good question. If you want me to answer, I will answer you right now.
I think we'll derail. I think we'll derail because you said a few things, and I would love to comment on that, but I'm not going to do that now, given that we're out of time. But my bigger point was at this point that this should happen in a way that we should be respectable of each other's views. My whole family is Muslim. The last thing I want in a Western country is that Muslims getting demonized, because that would mean that my mother would be demonized, or my sister would be demonized. So I cannot take a position where I can say, well, Muslims are evil or Muslims are bad, or etc. What we try to do is we criticize a religion. By criticize, I mean we criticize the principles of that, which obviously we disagree on, and you may not find it good, but we need the tolerance level that we can say, okay, you're free to leave Islam or whatever you are doing. Now I am focusing more my efforts onto helping ex-Muslims rather than addressing or debating Islam itself. I mean, of course, as my work is getting more and more prominent, so once the book comes out as well, which I would be asked to take part in these conversations. But I am thankful to you. I'll wrap it up now. I'm thankful to you for this conversation. Hopefully we'll do it again next Sunday. And we can expand it a little bit more, and we can have series of conversations. And I think this should promote, both of us have a responsibility for you to tell your viewers that whatever it is, whatever we're saying, let's be acceptable. Let's be more accepting towards other people. And I am saying the same thing. I am constantly blocking people. I'm blocking more non-Muslims from my page than I'm blocking Muslims, because some non-Muslims come in and they actually make racist statements towards Muslims as people. And most of them, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of people come on my page, the Indians as well, and I've noticed that some people like to bash Muslims or criticize Islam purely because they hate Muslims. Now, I have no place for those people. As I said, my mother is Muslim, my father is Muslim, my sister is Muslim. So that goes against people. We need to be more tolerant towards each other. But violence is where we draw the line.
See them sometimes. How you see them, by the way?
Sorry?
How you see your parents? Like, you see them similar, like, they have a ridiculous religion and they have ridiculous belief. Do you see them in that way?
I do think that they hold ridiculous views. Privately, but it's okay for them. But it's okay for them.
They think my son needs psychiatrist because this guy is, abnormal, believing something came out of nothing and pop up everything. Fine. I mean, this is something that I took notes from your video, and these are your words. I don't want to mention them because, as you said, you might have changed over time. And this is a video 3 months ago you uploaded, and the things you have said I was not expecting, because there were just attack, not criticism. And hopefully you can rewatch the video and decide for your own. Again, thank you so much for coming over, and I have no problem speaking to people. Anybody who has questions, most welcome. Basically, I did not sleep since last night properly, and I'm quite dizzy as well. So still, thank you so much for keeping up. Next Sunday, 12 p.m. 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. Germany time. It will be 11 p.m. UK time. It will be 10:30 or 9:30 in Pakistan time, and it will be 8 p.m. in Australia time.
Yes, it'll be 8 p.m. in Australia.
Yeah. So yeah, based on that, I can see you next week, and we will speak about the natural selection and evolution.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much then. See you next week.
See you, bye.